Do you have any suggestions for us in terms of if we may feel negatively about what Pastor Paulsen is saying or about the question being posed to him? How do we express negative emotions? Do we hold it in? Do we smile the whole time?
I think it's just time to leave. No, I don't know, Ray, it's kind of a question for you. I think be honest.
Yeah, you know, this is not, let's not fake it. But also, let's remember we are talking to the leader of the world church, spiritual leader, but also a brother, also somebody, a teacher as well, a pastor, somebody that you respect right from the very beginning, and so you may say, sir, I respectfully would like to offer another opinion, or I could challenge you, and I tell you, he will probably say to you, okay, go for it. And then and this is what the dynamic conversation is about, and this is what Pastor Paulsen actually encourages.
Oh, I have been amazed. I mean, we did one live show in one particular part of the world where one of the men on the show, I mean, this was going out live. He was saying,
I'm living with my partner. Currently, we're not baptized because we're living in sin.
I mean, this is live on the show.
And they won't baptize us until we're married. I found that annoying, and I'm over it now. I'm okay with it now. But for some people who are not in the church, who haven't grown up in the church, and they come to this block, they're going to say, well, you can keep your religion.
Yeah.
This is a challenge.
It's a very, very difficult question, and actually, it's a challenge to the church in many, many parts of the world. I don't think the Bible is the one that's unclear on this here.
I talked with them about, the church has to have a certain, we have to have norms and standards. And sometimes these standards, they may seem very difficult, they may seem like an obstacle, but they have to represent a value that the church holds for clear biblical reasons.
If the church reach into their lives one way or another, and we are looking at the possibility of they becoming members of the church, I would work patiently and I hope lovingly with that couple to move them along so this doesn't become an obstacle. I want them to make a decision. I want them to understand that the church wants to be supportive of them, but the church has very, very clear biblical standards that it has to operate with.
So we talked about that, and so he said, "Yeah, as time has passed, I've understood this." And so I asked him right there live. I said,
"Why don't you do it? I mean, if you made your decision, why don't you say to the lady, make her day?
We're getting married."
Wonderful.
And so he said, "Actually, said we are getting married. I think it was in 3 weeks' time they're getting married, and the church is going to baptize us both the week after." Now, I just thought to me, that was a disarmingly open and honest conversation.
Every week I have to be up in the rostrum, and we have talented women who are not able to function in the role that God calls them to function. And I think it's necessary for the church to actually come to the point where we could use our women as elders or even pastors.
Absolutely. I think you have put your finger on something that we are in so many places
He stood up for that one.
and that is to use women, but use also the younger half of our congregation more creatively and more actively in the life of the local congregation. There is no reason why a woman cannot be an elder in the church. I know of no reason. Nor do I know of any reason why anyone has to have passed the age of 45 or 50 before they can become elders. So I think that all of us, we make up the family of God. And women must have a strong creative participation in the life of the local congregation. They have
As a leader of the Adventist World Church, you are setting an example about communication between the leadership and the youth and young professionals in our church.
Yes.
Aside from what you're doing, where is the other leadership at?
Okay. I think the question is what I'm doing, spreading to other leaders in church, is a very, very fair question. I am telling my fellow leaders, I'm reminding them not only of what I'm trying to do, but I'm reminding them of what the youth of our church and the young professionals, what they are actually saying. They asked me in Africa recently, on the last visit I made to Africa, they asked me, have you ever been in the home of a really poor family? And they follow it up with the second question, why not? And I don't know what to say. I'd heard from many, many parts of the world church youth what their concerns were. I felt the time had come to let me tell them of some of the major concerns which the youth and young professionals of this church want to say to me, to us as leaders. We need to hear and understand what they are saying, for it comes across clearly and strongly from those who are under 30 in our church. The point they are making is this: being included, being trusted, being considered responsible, for elders to be prepared to take some risks with inexperience, are sentiments and attitudes which senior leadership must be willing to show, they say, or we're gone, we're out of here. We are gone simply because we have no ownership responsibility in the life of this church. I think that if you are chairman of the board, if you are division president or a union president and you are chairman of the board of a university, you know, take the time, go on campus and have a live, on-stage conversation with the students of that institution. Bring them together, many of them. Take their questions. Some of them will be difficult, but then that's the way life is. They aren't all easy questions, but just simply do it for the greater value of bonding the family together. To me, you know, this is what love does. It bonds the family together.
It's not that we're saying to the church that we want this church without boundaries, you know, without walls. I don't think, you know, I'd be afraid to drive on a narrow road with no guardrail, with a precipice over. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need something. I need to know that if I'm about to go over the cliff, there's something to buffer me. So we're not saying we don't want boundaries. We're not saying that we don't want guardrails. We're just saying, you know, healthy boundaries.
And the process for setting the boundaries to be slightly different.
Yes.
You've got to be prepared to take risks with those who are young. Bring them in. At one time, a young person said to me, in 10 years, you will be gone. If you don't bring us in now, we will be gone as well. So we have to be very, very deliberate about making sure that they have a role in the church. I think it's mainly attitude and being deliberate about it and making an effort to see it happen.
Despite all the challenges that exist, the youth of this church, it's a sleeping monster, and it's just waiting to be, you know, woken up